All right, welcome to the Carl Jackson Show podcast, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Guys, I have this is a very important show. And I think we have a very important guest, and I'm going to ask you to spread the message. Make sure you follow her on Twitter. A young woman by the name of Arden Young. You can follow her on Twitter at Arden_Young_. But I think potentially anyway, this young woman could be perhaps responsible for bringing down Pornhub, if not bringing down Pornhub, at least playing a major role in stopping some of the sex trafficking and even rapes that may occur right on their website. It sounds crazy and disgusting it's weird. I'm a little dumbfounded. I cannot lie. I watched the video. I can't believe how flippant the exec at Pornhub is. Having said all of that, Arden, let me bring you right in. I appreciate you coming on to the Carl Jackson Show.
Thank you so much, Carl. I really appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. And Gabe is going to be getting some of that video together. I just sent it to him late, but I'd like the audience to hear and see some of it. But you participate in this video with a Pornhub executive. Talk to us a little bit about that, Arden.
Yeah, Mike Farley has worked at Pornhub mainly. So he works for MindGeek/ALO, which is Pornhub's parent company. It's a huge pornography corporation. They call themselves a tech company. They own an unimaginable amount of porn sites, porn production companies. They even own like VPNs. And they're pretty secretive about other things that they own. So we don't really know the extent of it. Pornhub is the number 9 most trafficked website in the entire world. So huge profits, huge money. And Mike has been there pretty much since the beginning. He's been there over 10 years. And he tells me that he was actually the 7th employee to be hired there. So he definitely knows what he's talking about when he's speaking with me. And essentially, he's explaining this loophole in the upload system. So anyone can kind of upload a pornographic video to Pornhub. Pornhub requires them to be a verified user, which means that if you want to upload, you just upload a government ID. And after that's approved, you can essentially upload what you want. The loophole specifically is that so many pornographic videos don't actually show the faces of the people in the video. So if the camera is cut off at the neck, say, it could essentially be anyone and you just don't know. And he's explaining this to me. I ask him if traffickers use this loophole. He says, of course. Do rapists use this loophole? Of course. To make money? Of course. And you're right. He's very nonchalant.
Arden, I mean, you're an independent journalist and an investigative journalist. Do you ever participate in things like this and you're absolutely shocked where your jaw wants to drop? You can't believe the information that people are talking about, like this guy, Mike Farley. I mean, I honestly sat there and I watched the video and I'm like, the first thing I would have thought if I were him, like, am I on 60 Minutes or what is that show to catch I forget what it was.
Right.
But I mean, this is just absolutely insane. Does it ever surprise you the depths of evil that exist, and two, what motivates you to get involved in stuff like this and do this type of investigative journalism?
When I'm in the field across from a subject who's essentially spilling the beans, I'm definitely in a weird zone of adrenaline and nerves, and I'm really just focused on getting more information out of them. So I'm thinking about, okay, what's my next question going to be based on this? And I do really get shocked, but I'm really motivated by, okay, what's the next thing I can get? What's the next thing I can ask to hopefully bring more information to light? And really the reason why that I decided to investigate Pornhub I'll start with my background. I have an acting background in TV and film. I grew up in Los Angeles, working on different shows and sometimes movies. And I grew up around some kids who had been exploited
Wow.
and had told me about it, or you hear about it, or their parents warn you, don't work with this person because this happened to this person. And it really stuck with me. Fast forward to 2020, I read an article published by the New York Times. Nicholas Kristof wrote it, called The Children of Pornhub. And he details the accounts of some child exploitation victims whose videos had been, of course, without their consent, uploaded to Pornhub, circulated, monetized.
Children.
After, the main girl he wrote about in that article was 14 at the time that her video was recorded and circulated. And it's really, really heavy. But it really motivated me to investigate Pornhub, because after that New York Times article, there's a big public scandal. Pornhub claimed to have cleaned up their act, but I had a hunch that that wasn't the case.
Yeah, and just so just to clarify, and we'll play some of this video in just a sec here, but just to clarify, I mean, part of the loophole or loopholes are, for one, the user can upload or you can become an active participant on Pornhub and places like that by using a government issued ID, as you stated earlier. But it doesn't have to be you participating in the sexual acts or whatever. You can literally have other people essentially performing for you, and those people don't have to show their faces. They don't have to provide ID. So in essence, anyone could be using Pornhub, including traffickers, including rapists, and you would have no clue of who these people are.
That's correct.
That is just astonishing to me. I think, Gabe, if we have this ready, I'd like to play, you don't mind, Arden, just a couple of minutes of the video so people can get a feel of it. And again, you can follow Arden on Twitter, and I encourage you to do so at Arden, ARDEN _Young _. All right. So at Arden _Young _. And I have already followed her. I hope that you will follow her. I hope that you will share this information. I certainly have more questions for Arden, but I just want to give you a taste and feel of what she did. And what's so funny to me, Arden, was just like, you were, and to me, and maybe this is because I'm not in the scene, but I'm like, dude, you were just so professional and grilling this guy. And he was just like, la-di-da, yeah, well, I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, let's go ahead and roll this video here, Gabe. Let the audience get a taste of a couple of minutes here.
How are you going to tell me, like, who's in that video if the girl's not showing her face? Like, that wouldn't hold in court. That would be the loophole that I always, like, I look at that and I'm like, that's stupid, but everybody is just kind of rolling with it.
Why don't they just roll with it? Why don't they say something?
It costs money.
Who exploits the loophole?
Fucking everybody. Everyone. You make a lot of money.
Do rapists use it, or?
Of course. We've brought it up to the CPO, we brought it up to the CLO, and they're both telling us it's all good. And the CPO is especially telling us, like, fuck off, it's all good. Like, stop.
So they know the
like,
risk.
shut up. No, it's all good. I'm not gonna get caught. It's fine.
But what if, like, the government was to find out about this loophole? What would they do?
I don't know. They're not gonna do shit. They'll do nothing. They're dumb. They don't know shit. They're not qualified to identify the loophole.
Meet Mike Farley. Farley is a product manager at Pornhub who has been working at Pornhub for more than 10 years. In fact, Farley tells our undercover reporter he was one of Pornhub's first employees.
I stick around because
let's hold it there for now, Gabe. Let's go ahead and pause the video. I want to go back to my guest, Arden Young. She is an investigative reporter. And Arden, if there's anywhere else you'd like people to go to see your work, feel free to share that. But I think this is a very important topic. No wonder a lot of these people can't stand the sound of freedom, and we're not getting a lot of pushback in media. I got to ask this question. I think it's an obvious question here, Arden. Obviously, you're a very attractive woman. Do you think that this guy would give up so much information if a guy was is that part of what you guys count on as an investigative reporter?
It's a really good question. I feel like in a lot of circumstances, if we're being brutally honest, I don't think it's a matter of it made the difference of him opening up in conversation. I think it was a matter of like he might have not wanted to like hang out with a random guy in the first place.
Okay.
So,
All right.
He was an open book once we sat down at our first meeting. This was footage from our first meeting. We only had 2 meetings.
Now, was he under the assumption that this was a date, or did he know that this was a meeting? Because I'm honestly, I'm just shocked at how easily you get so much information from this guy.
I think he was hoping it was a date.
All right, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. That's what I was kind of getting at and wondering here. So he set the CPO, which I'm guessing is like a chief executive officer of some sort, and the CLO, or where this
chief product
officer,
and the chief legal officer.
I got it. Okay, and the chief legal officer. So they don't care. They're well aware, at least according to Mike Farley here, they're well aware of what's going on, and they simply don't care. They want to make their money.
Hurts their bottom line. He in another segment in the video, he says, "Why would you spend more money on making your company compliant so that it makes less money? It doesn't make sense."
Yeah, I do remember hearing that. You know, I wonder. I wonder. A couple of things. Did he seem at all? I mean, maybe off camera. I mean, because he was so willing to talk. Is there a chance that he was like, I think this is bad, and it actually he did seem to indicate that in the video. But we just make so much money. There's just nothing we're going to do about it. Is that essentially it?
Yeah, his attitude toward his work, it was really fascinating. He actually told me that he doesn't like the adult industry. He thinks it's unethical.
Really?
But he sticks around because he's been there for so long. And he's a product manager. He considers himself a tech guy. And he says, I just happen to work on a tech platform that distributes pornography.
So he's just pretty numb to the experience then, obviously. Is that?
Yeah, I think he's very comfortable there. He's been there for so long. It was one of his first jobs. And
he's obviously being paid well. I'm guessing based upon the fact that they are the number 9 porn site. You said number 9 most trafficked website worldwide. Is that correct?
Yeah, they've been in the top 10 consistently and just bounce up and down the top 10. They're considered to be the most well-known porn company. The parent company, MindGeek ALO, has a huge monopoly over the porn industry worldwide. If you look them up on Wikipedia, it doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of everything they own or control. They like to keep a lot of those things hidden.
Are there any politicians that are contacting you, Arden, or that are aware of this, working behind the scenes to expose this? Or is there anyone that you know of in the political realm that is really trying to do something to bring about change here?
Yeah, there's a lot of lawmakers trying to create legislation around cracking down on pornography companies, but we're hoping we do continue to get more interest. We're in the early stages of speaking with some lawmakers and really hoping to be able to get bipartisan support on this issue. It should be an issue that everyone could easily come together and agree
Where
on.
is Pornhub headquartered at? Are they headquartered in, Florida, where I'm at, or where are they headquartered?
Well, their parent company, MindGeek, now rebranded to ALO. Their headquarters are in Montreal,
Okay.
Canada. These videos were filmed in
Okay.
Montreal. They operate a lot in Eastern Europe, as you might be able to imagine, and in Canada. A lot of the pornography productions that they're involved in are filmed in the States or all around the world. But it's so much easier for pornography companies to operate outside the US. Um, and we're hoping to be able to continue to investigate, outside the
Okay.
US.
That's interesting. So they're able to operate. I guess if there's something to be proud of, that's one of the things I guess we can be proud of in America. Or is that a little naive?
I mean, I think it's a positive thing that it's more difficult. Like the guidelines are more strict here because there's all the rules are so lax, in Eastern Europe. That's why porn companies decide to go there. Um, and there's so much that goes wrong over there, as you can imagine. There's so much underage uh, activity and things like that. So, not that that's not happening here, but it's great that they're not incentivized to make their hub here.
Let me ask you a couple of personal questions because listen, I'm a guy. I remember when I was a young kid, literally being exposed to porn. I don't think there's a guy alive, quite frankly, that hasn't seen it or viewed it at some point in time in his life. And God has, changed my life. Thank God. But that was something that like everybody I knew was either watching or at the time I'm a little older, so looking at magazines and stuff like that. But it is so pervasive. It seems like online. I kind of I'd like to know your thoughts. I think pedophilia is being normalized. I think it's extremely difficult for young people to have male-female relationships as a result of the just the pervasiveness and the easy access to porn nowadays. I think it contributes to depopulation in a sense because you're not getting any real relationships. But I think beyond the loopholes, the rape, which is astounding. I fear a lot of this behavior is becoming normalized. Is that your sense?
That is my sense. I think the more you feed an appetite for something, the more demand is going to be
Yeah,
created. It's just common
yeah.
sense. And by the way, we have many more
Wow.
videos
Okay.
dropping. They're all focused on MindGeek employees, the parent company of Pornhub. You're going to hear again from Mike Farley, and I think you're going to be really surprised at how closely he actually agrees with that philosophy, that belief, and
Wow.
but he's still in this
Yeah. So these
industry.
people absolutely just become totally desensitized, and it is all about making money. Meanwhile, again, a child rapist. The loophole is pretty simple. Uh, you can have an ID. You can be. I don't even know what these people are considered when you upload. I think I heard in your video this is called a tube site.
Yeah, there's different sites. So this is a tube site where, like YouTube users will
I
upload to
gotcha.
it homemade videos, things like that. And they also own what's called pay sites. So sites like Brazzers, and they're like production companies that create the pornography and people pay to view it. So no one's uploading to those sites. But Pornhub is a tube site, and it's actually considered to be competition with MindGeek's pay sites. So it's interesting that different companies under MindGeek are actually competing with each other.
You've offered, there is a solution for those of you that are listening, and I'm going to make sure that I sign on to this. But there's a petition that you guys are promoting. What is that? What is that petition, Arden?
Yeah, it's a petition to hold Pornhub accountable for it's gone on too long. They've been exposed for scandal after scandal after crime after crime, and they're always seeming to find the way around to keep operating and keep making money off of illegal content. So the petition is hopefully to get as much support as possible to be able to enact change and enforce the law. U.S. Code 2257, enacted in 1988, it made age verification mandatory for every person who appears in pornographic content in under a traditional porn company, which I believe that MindGeek is a traditional porn company. Sure. So I want that law enforced.
Yeah.
It's not too much to ask.
Yeah, no doubt. And there's no doubt that, I mean, obviously, you mentioned it earlier. I mean, but the more you feed something like this, the more it grows. So perhaps I think you're doing a great job by exposing this stuff because, Lord willing, there will be, you get a lot of these traffickers or the people that aren't being identified on these videos off. And hopefully people will start looking at pedophilia. Oh yeah, this is evil. I just think so much of this stuff, so much evil is being normalized, not just here, Arden. I got to tell you, I'm looking at where America has gone in just the last 3 or 4 years, and I'm like, I don't even recognize my country. I saw it getting there, but I'm like, I just think we're on the verge of collapse. I mean, we're morally bankrupt and everything else. So I appreciate warriors like you getting out there to play. To play a part in this, because I mean, even pedophilia. I look at pedophilia, I'm like, literally 6 months ago, I'm being somewhat exaggerative, every man that I know would want to pound a freaking pedophile in the face. And now it seems like society so quickly has just gone to, no big deal, none of my business. And I attribute, sites like this, also in the political realm, to making that happen. You said some politicians are involved and interested in this. Is that on a federal level? Is that on a state level? Both? What are you seeing?
Thus far as our investigations, we've gotten interest on a state level, but of course we are looking to talk to more lawmakers and politicians and just keep expanding the interest.
What can we expect to see in upcoming videos, or is that something you can't give away right
now? I'll be general.
Okay.
Each video is going to have a new Pornhub or parent company employee in it. Each video will focus on slightly different but relevant subject matter. This isn't the only way illegal content is being uploaded or
really
coming on the site. No.
Really? Are you honestly, Arden, I hope you go to these meetings packing with something. Does that ever concern you? Do you have people? I hope you have some people around. You don't have to give anything away. I'm just seriously for your own safety. I hope you have something.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm taking measures, and
you don't have to give anything away. Funny. I don't want you to, but okay.
No, it's kind of funny because before we released the story, I don't know. It's just I wasn't able to imagine what it would be like after release. Like, I've just never gone through a release like this before. So after the release, people have been like messaging me and responding to me like, you just kicked a hornet's nest. You need to be really careful. And I had a moment just yesterday where I was like, I just kicked a hornet's nest. I need to be really careful.
Yeah.
I have already gotten a little bit of a scary call from a number that doesn't really trace back anywhere.
Really?
So yeah, I'm not too worried. I think there's a lot of just
Sure.
intimidation and
But you called the police, I
whatever it may
hope.
be. It wasn't a legit, like it wasn't an actual
Okay.
threat.
Okay.
So no, but hopefully it doesn't come to that. I'm going to be very careful. But I know I'm doing the right
Yeah.
thing, and I'm almost glad I didn't know what to expect beforehand, because I don't want that to change
That's okay. That's
what I'm doing.
that's interesting. All right. So, man, I don't know. That just hit me. That's a very interesting point. So you're kind of glad that you didn't know what you were walking into, so that you can basically remain focused. This is kind of maybe God's call on your life, at least for right now.
Thank you. It certainly feels that way, and whatever happens with these stories, with these releases, of course, I want legislative action to be taken. But I think whatever happens, I will be at peace knowing that I did what I thought was right in those moments. So,
Man, that is so good. You're a person of faith, then I'm assuming here.
yes.
All right. What I'm going to make sure that I do, Arden, I'm blessed to have the opportunity to sit on national air and for some national guys, and I'm going to make sure that I can do all that I can to bring attention to this issue as well, including having you on as a guest, if that's okay with you, when I'm sitting in again on a national air, because I do think this is important. I look at the way that society is headed. I really believe the left. I haven't asked you your political leanings. That isn't any of my business unless you want to share it. I think I can kind of assume, but regardless, I just feel like the left is on a mission to, quite frankly, depopulate the earth, and I think there's a lot of evil that comes under that, and I know there's just this simple evil that exists. But at the same token, I look at the damage that porn does. I mean, I can tell you from my own experience as a young man back in the day, it screwed me up for a while. And I wasn't even like insanely, into it. But it just makes you view women, for one, differently. It makes relationships harder because you're always focused on just body parts rather than the person as a whole. So I look at the havoc that this stuff wreaks on society, and it's unbelievable. And I can't help but to think of the young girls and boys that are being trafficked, that are being raped, that are being tortured, and honestly, just the evil that people are just growing accustomed to, and that's being normalized on places because of places like Pornhub. And at least not having a verification. If adults are going to do adult things, I can't stop that. But you're right; they need to follow the law. It makes sense that anybody participating in those videos, every single person should have to verify who they are, even people viewing, but should have to verify who they are. They're going to participate in those videos, verify that they are adults, and their faces, quite frankly, in my opinion, should be shown. But anyway, that's my rant for the day. Is there anything else that you'd like to share? Because I'd love to get you back on. I'd love to get you back on in the future on this.
Thank you. I would love to. Yeah, well, Mike Farley himself, his solution to the issue is don't have content up on the site where you can't verify the age and identity of every single person in the video.
Pretty simple.
Mike Farley would agree with you. And in future videos, you'll see that other employees have solutions similar to that. But nothing is being done.
That is so weird.
So, yeah. But anyone who wants to follow along, yes, we're on Twitter, Sound Investigations. I'm Arden _Young _. Our website is soundinvestigations.com. We have more videos coming, and I just wanted to thank people for supporting a brand new nonprofit organization. We're formed specifically to investigate the online porn industry, and we are completely self-funded so far.
All right.
To ensure that we were able to act as quickly as we did.
Wow, that is impressive. And what is the name of the site that people can go to sign this petition?
I think it was on change.org. It's slipping my mind the exact.
I'll make sure that I put it up for those of you that are going to be watching this podcast and hopefully sharing this podcast. I will make sure that we have the links available, both to Arden and also to soundinvestigations.com, and also the petition. I saw it somewhere on your Twitter feed, so make sure you guys follow her on Twitter. Again, that is at Arden_Young_. So at Arden_Young_. And Arden, listen, man, I'm just saying, man, I'm sorry. But I have to compliment you on your bravery. I am so impressed. There's so many young people out there that are fighting for freedom in different ways. And this is both a physical and I think a spiritual battle in this realm that has major implications. So I just want to say thank you. I want to encourage you to keep going, but please be safe. And I just got to give you props. I am so impressed with people that will go out and do this work. It makes me feel really small, but I got to tell you, I don't care. I feel like you're a giant, and I so appreciate what you're doing to expose this stuff and bring truth. Nothing breaks my heart more than the thought of, I can't even stand when I think of animals getting abused, let alone human beings that are being trafficked and raped. I mean, that is the most degrading thing. I'm one of these people that believe that rapists should get the death penalty too, but I know I'm a little insane. Actually, I don't think I am. I think they deserve it, frankly. But anyway, so thank you so much for joining us today, Arden. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Carl. Pleasure being here.
Absolutely. All right, guys, if you will, and Arden, if you will stick with me for just a minute, we want to make sure we get this uploaded. But guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Please subscribe wherever you go to get your podcast. Review us wherever it is possible, but subscribe, like, share wherever you are. We would certainly appreciate that. All things social media at The Carl Jackson Show, at The Carl Jackson Show. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, Facebook, True Social, Getter, wherever you are that I am. At The Carl Jackson Show is where you can find me. Please support our sponsor, Mike Lindell at MyPillow. They have a fabulous deal going on right now. Giza sheets are 50% off, plus deep discounts on all other products. All you have to do is use my name, go to the top of the page, Radio Podcast Square, enter the name Carl, and you will receive those discounts. Or if you prefer, 800-858-0263, 800-858-0263. 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee on all of my pillow products. Plus, you get the benefit of knowing that you're supporting a patriot and you're supporting American jobs and American-made products. MyPillow.com, promo code Carl. All right, guys, I hope, listen, this has been fascinating. I cannot wait for the other videos. Make sure you go. I was going to play bits and pieces of the entire video. I don't want to do that. What I want you to do is I want you to follow Arden Young on her Twitter space, or wherever she is. I want you to go to soundinvestigations.com. I want you to go to, again, we'll have the links available for the petition that you can participate in. I think it's Trafficking Hub petition. But anyway, I will have that information for those of you in the listening audience. So thank you once again, Arden Young. Follow her on Twitter at Arden Young _Young_. And please pray for her. I mean, if you are a person of faith, please pray for her. She's stepping in a realm it's just absolutely evil and demonic. So just pray for her that God would use her to do amazing work and would absolutely keep her safe. All right. So again, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, don't grow weary doing good, and God bless you.